share my PowerPoint. Okay, so if you want to follow along up there, you may. I may point to it from time to time. But thank you for having me. I'm Michael Hansen with Hand and Paw. I have been with the organization for about 2 years and 3 months. Before this, I worked for a nonprofit called GASP, Greater Birmingham Alliance to Stop Pollution, where I was executive director for 8 years. I was there for 10 and a half years total. I'm originally from Memphis, Tennessee, and I moved to Birmingham in 2008 to pursue my master's degree. So my background is in marketing and public relations. That's what my master's was. And then my professional background is in nonprofit organizations, mostly in the public health and environmental world and advocacy. So that's what I've spent most of my last 20 years doing. Um, this is, full disclosure, my first time doing a presentation for Hand and Paw. I make these presentations for other people to do. I don't typically do them myself. So this is new. Um, these are my animals. So this is one time I do ask you to look at the screen because I love them. On the left is Hugo, our 3-year-old Frenchie, Frenchton. He's a French Bulldog Boston Terrier mix. And then Mia, our cat. She's named Mia because she goes missing in action. Um, so a little bit about Hand and Paw before we dive in to the details. We were founded 30 years ago, about this time. It was May 30 years ago by a woman named Beth Franklin. She's pictured in that frame with Shizu. She had a vision when she was executive director of the Greater Birmingham Humane Society of an animal assisted therapy organization for Alabama. And it was kind of an emergent field at the time. It had been around for a little while, but it wasn't really well known. And so she wanted to bring that to Alabama, and she got it started in 1996. And her first partner was the UAB Comprehensive Cancer Center. So they started doing visits then. Um, our mission is to improve human health and well-being through uh, the power of the human animal bond through animal assisted intervention services at no cost to our partners. And we really do believe in that connection between humans and animals. So we value that and the unconditional love that they provide. Um,
Speaking of which,
I'm going to introduce them in a second.
you have a scratch.
This work is based in science, it's evidence-based. It's been around for decades, but for the last 20, 30 years, it's really come on strong in the academic world in terms of research. So interacting with animals help you release oxytocin and serotonin, other endorphins. So that's the positive. And then they help reduce things like cortisol and epinephrine and some of those negative chemicals that our body produce, stress hormones, they're called. And it provides a non-judgmental companion as well. So that's relevant to a lot of different applications that we'll get into in a minute. Last year, we recorded over 169,000 interactions with humans in this area, including over 7,500 visits. This would be considered a visit, but also our regular programmatic visits with our hospitals, schools, and nursing homes and other places. Volunteers racked up over 8,000 volunteer hours, and that's a low end estimate because that's just what everyone reported. You have to remember to report your hours. um, we have had last year 137 therapy teams. Lily and Max are a therapy team, the two of them, and visit assistants, and those are humans who accompany the teams on larger visits to help crowd control, count, things like that. And then we have currently about 125 community partners that we serve. So I'm going to ask Lily to introduce herself, her and Max, before I get into the program details of what we do.
I'm Lily. This is Max. I'm a recent Hand and Paw member. We officially passed all our tests and joined in December. This is I'm actually a breast cancer surgeon researcher at UAB. So have a full-time, a day job, but I love volunteering with Hand and Paw. Because yeah, I think like everything Michael was just saying, like it like, I think it's all very real. And I mean, Max is definitely my own personal therapy dog, dog. But it's really nice, it's just so endearing. Like you see, we do a lot of like nursing home visits, and so it's just so like you just see just, their people's faces just light up and it's like really just like a bright spot in their day. And yeah. So it's really rewarding because I think, you just you instantly make someone smile.
That's the core of it. Um, to get into the weeds of what we do a little bit, we have three main pillars of our work. One is health and well-being, and this is I would say loosely animal assisted therapy, if you really want to get into the jargon. And then resilience, this would be animal assisted activities. These are less structured and more about like the interactions at a nursing home or typically might be resilience or animal assisted activities. And then there's animal assisted education, which is a little more structured than the activities, but it's not a health-based structure. The learning typically might be like for us, literacy or special education classrooms. Um, so I'll talk about each one of those a little bit and show some photos. So animal assisted therapy sessions tend to be conducted in collaboration with health professionals, a bit more structured, like I said. Um, so those visits take place in places like hospitals with patients and staff, in physical rehab facilities, respite programs, hospices, and palliative care centers, um, grief and crisis responses, as well as end of life visits, some of which take place in hospitals and or hospice and palliative care settings. Some examples of what that looks like include visiting patients at Children's of Alabama or UAB. One of the first visit I went on actually was at the VA. I visited with a team named Jennifer and Darcy, and we went to the palliative care unit. And that was really a great introduction to what we do. I got to witness the power of um, animal assisted therapy interacting, a gentleman interacting with Darcy and being vocal for the first time in weeks, you know, and that really was meaningful. And I got to see that and really kind of made me a believer. I already was, but it really made an impact. Some other examples would be hospice visits. We have done some one-on-one end of life visits in those program partner settings, and then including therapy animals and PT and OT occupational therapy. Um, we don't do horses, but horses are actually a very common use of animal assisted therapy for physical therapy. So helping people regain walking ability and things of that nature. Um, Speech therapy too, actually. So this is a dog named Buddy. He is 16 years old and he has been a hand and paw therapy dog for I think 12 of those. And he visits Children's of Alabama regularly every month, where he is a celebrity. This is Macy. That's Buddy again, Children's. And this is Darcy, that dog I mentioned before, at the VA with the patient. And then this is, I can't tell who that is. That may be
It's like
Olive. I think that's Olive, our staff person's all-star dog. She's amazing. So resilience, these are those animal assisted activities that I mentioned, a little bit less structured, a little bit more informal, more about emotional support and overall well-being, mood, things of that nature. We visit places like nursing homes and assisted living, senior centers, um, shelters like homeless shelters or shelters for girls and children, colleges and universities. We do a lot of stress relief visits for students at the end of semesters or during exam periods. We visit the Ronald McDonald House twice a month to visit with families. That's really relieving. I didn't put on here, but we actually have a program with the court system, the family courts. So we visit with at the court so that children who are in high stress, you know, legal matters caught up in the middle of it can have some stress relief during that time. We also visit with first responders like fire and police, especially after if there's ever an incident, they'll call us in. Grief and crisis response. That's what I mean by that. And businesses, we actually have a program called Wags for Wellness where we go and visit with corporate offices that are higher stress corporate jobs. Uh, so here are some of those I mentioned. Another example would be animal advocacy with the Greater Birmingham Humane Society. So we really do try to advocate for animals as well. So I know Birmingham has a history of using dogs in the wrong way, and y'all are probably familiar with that civil rights history, right? So we try to sort of repair that a bit as well in the process of what we do. We also do early intervention at the Bell Center with kids, and then we also have adult exceptional program work with the Exceptional Foundation and others. Um, so we love going and visiting with our friends at the fire department, and we have a partnership with Terry Sabin's Happy Tales. That's a program she created just for us to be in partnership with the Alabama Athletics Department. So we visit with players and several different athletic teams, softball pictured here, especially when they're doing PT, but also just stress relief and getting ready for games or, you know, whatever's going on. This is a dog named Fudge. This is the Paws in the Court program where we go and visit with families going through difficult times. And this is Pam Strange and her dog, Susie Q. This is a cat named Clover who just recently moved out of town. We actually do have therapy cats, but Clover was our last one and they just moved. So if you've got a cat that has potential, we'd love to talk to you.
No way would a cat do that.
Clover was an all-star. My cat Mia would not. Um, so I wanted to show a video. One of the things that Matthew mentioned was kind of distinguishing between animal assisted therapy, which is the more rigorous and structured program, and then activity. So this is where they kind of meet. Um, so I'm going to show you a video we filmed last year about a partnership with the dialysis unit at Children's of Alabama.
Well, Macy and I have been a therapy team for 4 years. I mean, as soon as I get ready to come, she gets so excited. And I tell people she walks around this hospital like she owns the place, whether she's prancing through the halls or lying down on her back. And we've been known to block traffic in the halls here. Anyone from visitors, patients, staff, simple interaction that might make someone's day because you never know what people are going through.
I think that hand and fall we've seen here at Children's is so important. Just the way that they change a patient's experience, a family's experience. Our patients are coming to the hospital multiple times a week for long extended treatments, sometimes up to 4 hours. And so when Paul and Macy come into dialysis and turn that corner, the mood instantly lifts.
So at first she was very hesitant of it. She'd never seen like a bigger dog, but she has warmed up to Macy so much and she looks forward to the days we get to see Macy. As soon as she sees her, she practically tries to get out of her bed in dialysis. She gets excited. They sit Macy up on the chair and she tries so hard to get out the bed to reach her. So she loves it now.
First time I saw a hand and paw therapy dog made my day. I didn't know that was a thing until I got to Children's. One meaningful interaction I can remember, I had a patient who was having a very tough day emotionally. She had been crying all day and I was about there to cry with her. Macy came by and it truly just 360 in her attitude. She truly helps everybody that she's around.
It's been such a joy getting to work not only with Macy, but with Paul as well. Honestly, you can tell the two of them have such a great bond. Paul is an incredible handler to her.
We've enjoyed it. And when I started, I didn't really have a goal of, hey, I want to do hospital visits. We really didn't know much about hospital visits, but now we've kind of fallen into this is, it's a good fit. Macy loves it. We love it. And we feel like we're doing a lot of good things here.
A dog cannot talk to you like a human can, but they can comfort you unlike a human can. And they speak to you on a different level, truly.
Some of my favorite days are when Paul and Macy get to come and visit the unit and I get to work alongside of them. And you guys all play such a big role in that. Getting to see the way the patients' moods change, the way their smiles grow, it's just unforgettable. And I'm so thankful for the donors that we get the opportunity to work with Hand and Paul. So thank you so much.
Your work often goes unnoticed, but it is not unappreciated. You brighten a room like no one else can. We really appreciate you.
Every team has huge impacts, for whatever the visit is, whether it's a business or a school or a nursing home. And so I would say it's important to continue to support Hand and Paul.
This was a double or gala. So that's what I mean by this is an example of where animal assisted therapy and activities interact is the interaction with the patient. That's the therapy. So they're in a clinical setting and they're trying to produce better outcomes, right? But then we also visit with the family and the staff while they're there, and they're in high stress situations as well. So that's how the two kind of, look like together. Okay. So education, the education pillar of our work. We do a lot of visits in schools and libraries, life skill environments, other nonprofits. So that includes elementary schools, middle schools, high schools, after school programs, libraries, and like I said, other nonprofits. We have two concrete programs underneath this umbrella. School's Best Friend is our work with classrooms that serve special needs, exceptional students in elementary and middle schools. And then Sit, Stay, Read is our literacy program. So this takes place in schools, not nursing homes, schools, libraries, sometimes at our facility. Actually, while I'm thinking about it, we're right there. If you didn't know, we're like a diagonal across the street, right past Glenwood. And then we also have other miscellaneous partnerships that might pop up from time to time. We've done a reading with at Barnes and Noble for children where we've brought dogs. So things like that. So this is one of my favorite things because I just love the idea that sitting with a non-judgmental animal can really unlock something in a child who's struggling to read. Maybe they have a cognitive learning disability, or maybe they're an English as a second language student, or whatever. Everyone has their own challenges, and reading to a dog in front of a dog instead of to your peers, your classmates, your family, it can produce a world of difference. So this is at Avondale Elementary Library. A couple of teams here, Ashley and Abby and Karen and her corgi Tilly. Long-haired Chihuahua named Professor Fizzywig.
Oh my gosh.
This is School's Best Friend. So this is Harriet Peacock and Herbert. I'm about to show you the vest that they use. So this is an activity vest. Herbert wears this in the classrooms when he's doing the School's Best Friend program. And what they'll do is they'll spell words on him. So they have Velcro, and they'll read a book and they'll identify objects from the book and then stick them onto Herbert. And they get to pet him while they're doing it. So it's a lot of fun for the students. So they learn while they're, interacting with the dog. Here's a different, I'm not sure. I think that's Zeus, and a different activity vest. And then sometimes, just like animal assisted activities interact with therapy, so does education. We have a sit, stay, read program at Children's as well. So we'll take books to. There's a sunshine program where kids can come and read to the dogs, or if a patient's not able to make it out of bed, out of their room, we'll go to them. So that's what this is. So you may have a lot of questions. I'm going to try to answer some of them preemptively. One of them is always, how do you volunteer with Hand and Paw? Well, one of the ways you can volunteer is as a therapy team with your pet, like Lily and Max, and become a volunteer therapy team. You can also be a therapy um, a visit assistant. Those are the people who go into the visits that are larger scale, and you can help with crowd control, counting people, rallying the volunteers together and making sure nothing gets out of hand or whatever. But there to assist, literally in the name. And then we also have like your typical administrative volunteers who help with like office things or special events, and we have a junior board, so a lot of different volunteer opportunities. I want to focus on this one. A lot of fabulous pictures, obviously. Just lends itself to photographs. But to be eligible to apply to volunteer, you have to have had your animal for at least 6 months. Um, it needs to be at least 8 months old, 18 months old when you apply. And must be spayed or neutered. Those are not our rules. These are coming from like the national association that we are a member of. And then dogs have to complete group training, so they have to understand basic commands. Cats can come, but they don't have group training for cats. That would be a. Can you imagine? Uh, this is Buddy over here to the left, and his sister Maple. So these are husband and wife therapy team. Brett and Amy. Yeah, they're all stars at Hand and Paw for sure. And once you qualify, you meet those eligibility criteria, then you go to our website and submit your application. There's a button, and we'll contact you to set up a screening. So you probably did yours several months ago, about a year ago or more. So you'll come in and visit with Stephanie, our Director of Volunteers and Programs. You'll interact with staff as well. She'll make sure that the dog or the cat is well behaved, and in the case of a dog, understands basic commands, has a good temperament, isn't skittish or responsive to noises, things like that. And then if you're a good match, you'll enroll in the workshop program, which 4 weeks? I believe it's 4 weeks at this point. So it's about they're weekly. And then you go through an evaluation with Stephanie and evaluators who are qualified to assess the readiness of the animal. And then if you pass, you have to go through a couple of shadow visits. That's where you go on visits without your animal, observe, and interact with people, and get the gist of how it goes. Once you've done that, then you can begin your visits with your bestie. And then the other question we get a lot is, how do we get services? So just like with the volunteer application, there's a button on our website that says request a visit right up at the very top. You click that button, fill out a form. It's important. This is what you did to get me here. You just fill out the form and you specify, is this for program like ongoing services or for a special event or speaking engagement? And then we'll follow up with you and see if we have capacity. And that's that. It's really simple. And we, coming out of COVID, when things were getting back going in the world, we had a wait list because we were short staffed with volunteers, and we had a lot of people, you can imagine at the time, needing these services. So we did have a wait list. We currently don't. So we've been recruiting hard. So knock on wood, we're good to go.
The one-time therapy visit here.
Yeah. Well, I think this is considered a speaking engagement, but
Oh.
yeah, potato, right? We've got your therapy animal here.
What's it take for a dog to be the kind of dog that is a good dog?
This may be a good question for you.
So I think, well, maybe I can answer it more through like Max's story. I'm sure like if I'm sorry, I know I distracted you. I'm sorry, I called you. Yeah, so I learned about hand and paw. As I mentioned, I work at UAB, and I saw uh like I saw them there, like in the hospital, and I was like, oh my God. So of course, I love dogs, and I went up to them and I'm like, what's this? Who's this? And was loving on them. And then like learned about the organization. And I was like, oh, I think Max would be really good for it because Max is like very calm. He's like, I mean, you see most of the time he's very friendly. He's went up to all of you guys whether he liked it or not, and wanted to say hi and pet. And he's very calm. He doesn't bark, he doesn't jump, he doesn't like, he's just super chill. So I was like, oh, that'd be perfect. Like, let me find out. So then when I found out more, then I think I talked to maybe Stephanie on the phone first just to kind of like learn a little bit more even before we came in for the screening. And that's when she told me like he does feel like it does need to be like high level of obedience. So and you do need like a certificate. So we actually went through a local three-dimensional dog local training program here. So we did a whole training program there, and three-dimensional dog offers lots of different kinds of programs. So we did a bunch of three-dimensional dog to make sure to get him all obedient. And then we did our first screening, and that went well. But but overall, the only thing I was a little nervous about when talking to Stephanie, he is like little dogs, he's totally fine with, but like big dogs, he sometimes gets a little alpha male around. So she's like, oh, that won't, because you don't know who's in your group. Because most of the visits we do are group visits. Like things like this are really like one off. So he's like, pet me. And so you never know what dog's gonna be in your group. So then we actually went back to three-dimensional dog and we did this special like aggressive dog kind of class, which he was like, it was really funny because the dogs in there were like, I mean, we were in a huge room like this and there could be across the hall and they're like losing their minds. And Max was kind of like, eh. He mainly is more of like if he gets really close with like a big male dog. And that was then. So then anyway, we did all that. We got that certificate. Then we went for our second screening and he did fine. They do, yeah, she does all these like kind of basic commands and stuff. And then in the workshop, you're also in a workshop with a group. So my group had like two other team members in it. And there they do a lot of like more specific training of things like that are common visit things. So there's all the basic command kind of stuff and really make sure. I think a lot of that workshop training is how it's as much as you as it is about the dog because they have to make sure that like you're a good team and the dog actually listens to you. Like actually our group started out with there was four of us. And one of the teams actually didn't make it after the like first workshop because that one like it was not like the dynamic it was like because one of the things is even basic of like you have to like take your dog for a walk and they like watch you like around the room and like in that team it was like the dog was walking the owner not like the owner was walking the dog. So they'd like kind of watch for all that. And then you're there with the other teams. So they also just make sure that, they're fine around like other dogs and for extended periods of time. Because these, as Michael mentioned, it's like about 4 weeks, but each session's quite long. They're like several hours.
It's one right now.
Yeah, so they have to like be able to like sit through like a several hour workshop with other teams and make sure that they're doing all the things. Um, so yeah, so that was kind of like our journey. So like, even in like it took Max like a little bit of time because in the beginning, he had his like little quirks, like weren't sure how he'd be around like other big male dogs. Any other like little dogs or girl dogs, he's like fine with. But like a big male dog, he, doesn't love. Um, so we kind of worked through all that. Yeah, and so yeah, I think it's really about them just being like obedient and, a calm temperament and docile and kind of get along in a group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the gist of it.
Mhm.
We do poke and prod at them,
Mhm.
make sure they don't respond.
Yes, they get on.
Throw things on the floor.
Yes, they have to walk by. There's like treats and stuff, so you have to be able to walk by it without the dog. Like, when you say like leave it or whatever your command is with your dog, that they leave it. Then they do all this stuff like around with like wheelchairs and walkers, and move and like loud like dropping like a clipboard, like things like, real stuff that can happen on visits. And yeah, and then they have, that's funny, it's called like they call it the teenage boy, because you get like on a mat, and then the like volunteers, not like the hand and paw, like staff volunteers will get down and kind of like roughhouse a little bit with the dog, and sort of, tug at their ears and their tail, not aggressively, of course, but like enough to like, like see him doing, like see him like, he's like, okay, no, he's fine, but they do like kind of things like that. Yeah. It's kind of, he's kind of like,
Yeah, mine failed a little while ago.
yeah. But yeah, I mean, if you want to do it, you could always, like, like I had my little thing I had to work with Max in the beginning, but then we made it. It was all good, and he's great. He loves it.
What did you work with that three-dimensional dog? I'm curious, some coworkers of mine.
Yeah, oh my gosh. Now, this was like several years ago now, and she moved. She was lovely, and I'm looking at her name, and she's actually moved to Florida.
Yep, Erin.
No, Aaron's the owner.
No, Erin, woman, Erin. Erin Allen.
Was it? I thought her name was like not that, but maybe I'm wrong. Oh, Kelly. I think her name was Kelly.
Kelly, okay.
Kelly.
Good. Amy Haycox and then Erin Allen were both my coworkers at Zoo. So.
Oh, fun. Well, okay. Well, Kelly, which I think is her name, but maybe I'm misremembering. I'm pretty sure her name was Kelly. She was also at the zoo.
Yeah. Erin and her husband just recently moved to Florida. That's why I was thinking it was her.
I'm gonna have to look at my phone. I don't know why Kelly's like in my head now, and I feel so embarrassed because she was so great. We worked together for like so long. Yeah, she was wonderful.
Keeper, and then Amy Haycox worked with me at
Yeah.
the children's zoo.
Oh, that's awesome. I love
I
that.
thought when you mentioned
I think
dog,
I think Amy, I did some group classes led by Amy. I think especially when those are aggressive dog ones, which Max was not that aggressive compared to those dogs.
was her dog not Amy, but the person you're not sure of their name, was her dog Pepper?
I don't know. I've never like met her with a dog, so I don't. And if we did talk about her having dogs, I definitely do not remember the name. Yeah. But yeah. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. Well, she had at the time she had a boyfriend. I don't know if like, maybe now it's her husband, but definitely she was not married then.
The dog was married.
Yeah.
Well, fun fact, I also took my dog to a three-dimensional dog who worked with owner Aaron
Yeah.
McDonald.
Yeah.
Did that answer the question pretty well? Good. So I just threw up here some other ways you can support Hand and Paw aside from volunteering or requesting our program services. One is to donate. That's the QR code that I sent Matthew. And then if you want to join the pack, that's what we call our monthly giving community. $5 or more a month is what that is. And then we have a beautiful garden back there where you can get an engraved brick. So if you have a loved one pass or someone you want to honor in honor of, in memory of, or in celebration of, you can get an engraved brick installed. Make a planned gift in your will, or ask your employer or yourself if you're the employer to sponsor one of our fundraising events, or just come to one of our fundraising events, or share our stuff on social media. The list goes on and on way down below, but those are some of the highlights. I should have put this one last because I wanted to do questions and then close with that. So
Wondering, as you talked about, you've been to the VA.
Mhm.
And probably there are a lot of servicemen and women who deal with a lot of stress as a result of having served. Have you ever experienced where they interacted with a dog and then they had an interest in getting a pet of their own to help them with whatever they might be dealing with?
Certainly that happens. And the thing that I think happens the most that I've heard about, because I don't get to go on all the visits, my dog's not a therapy dog. But what I've heard a lot is people who have or have pets or had pets, and they haven't seen them in a while. If they're there for long term, then maybe they're having a hard time. It opens them up to, talking about, yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I think VA that happens, but also in retirement communities. We do a lot of visits there. And so a lot of times people will say, okay, I'm going to get a dog. So they'll get a dog if they're allowed, so that does happen.
What's one of the wildest like experiences like that sort of made hand paw history for y'all?
Oh, goodness. I've only been around for 2 years. So, um,
Or even a negative experience, where
knock on wood. We have not had a safety incident since I've been on board and haven't had one in over 5 years. So we strive for safety and all of that. Even if a dog, you mentioned he was at one point responsive to larger male dogs. If a dog were to growl at another dog or a human, even if it's a quiet growl, that's considered an incident. So we report it and investigate it and so on. So we take it very seriously, and we haven't even had one of those since I've been on staff.
the
So
dog will get demoted basically.
potentially, yeah,
Yes, okay.
yeah. So we'll verify, ask witnesses and stuff. So yeah.
We actually, so like part of the visit structure is before the visit starts, 15 minutes before, the therapy teams all gather outside. So like all the dogs like have a little bit of time to like, see each other, get to know each other, before you like go in and like start the visit, so that you're not suddenly like, in a small space inside, and these dogs that don't know each other are in the way. And there's definitely like a lot of rules they put in place, like around like, again, like I think so much of it is also like on you, as it is like, that's why even part of the workshop and the training, it's not just like, is your dog a good fit, but are you a good fit? Like, are you a good owner in the relationship? Because like things like that, like you're not supposed to like let your dog get in the face of other dogs. So like if even that's like that's all part of the outside thing. Like if your dog is trying to like pull and like get into another dog, like it's up to you to like control that, not to let that happen, not to let them like go face to face or interact, or also too, like it's sometimes, and just, I mean, in the end of the day, right, they're like animals, and sometimes, I mean, even Max, once in a while too, we're just like walking outside minding our own business, and there's some dog that passes by that he just like a reaction happens, like not even necessarily that whatever, they just send something, or like a dog doesn't like him and starts growling, and he does that, just out in the street, not anything on a visit. So sometimes like things just, happen to control, but it's up to you to how you handle it. And then if you don't feel like this would be like a good group for the dog to like stay in, like that's the whole point of like getting together before the visit starts, so you make sure that like nothing would endanger in the visit. So if there ever is any just like weird vibes, like whatever happened, then it's up to you being the owner, be like, oh, you know what, I think I'm not gonna, or the other team or whatever, one of the teams is like, hey, maybe this isn't like a good visit for me to stay on. Yeah.
I'm gonna.
As you were doing your presentation, I was thinking of a couple of organizations that might benefit from this. And what's your service area? Is it strictly Birmingham? And it's two-part question, Birmingham, and then are there other organizations in the state that are available, like in Gadsden or Anniston?
Yeah. So we say North Central Alabama. Really, what we mean by that currently, where we have volunteers to serve, is Jefferson, Shelby, and St. Clair, and Tuscaloosa.
Okay.
So that's the current footprint. Now, if we got volunteers in Bibb, Coleman, Walker, we would be able to serve those areas too. As far as others, there are a handful of smaller groups. For instance, there's Paws on the Plains in Auburn. They're affiliated with the university. And then I think there's a small group in Huntsville as well. Yeah. I wanted to go back, and I was going to pull up see if I could find a photo of a group meet and greet. But this is the gentleman I mentioned earlier at the VA. This was my first visit. I took this photo, and this gentleman talked to Darcy, and Jennifer's just off to the right. Darcy's human, and he talked to Darcy for probably half an hour, and he hadn't spoken in weeks, they said. Let's see.
And you were saying with the kids reading to a dog, because that dog's not gonna be judgmental.
Mhm.
Like, what do you think that was that kind of opened them up?
He had dogs at home who he started talking about missing,
Mm.
and for whatever reason that day he was willing to talk about it. I don't think he had actually visited with the dog before. I think Darcy and one other dog um, had been to that unit. It was the palliative care unit at the VA. But yeah, he that day he was open to it and opened up about having animals missing the family and service. I guess I didn't include the photo of the large group, but there are great examples of in our
The powwow.
social media of 5, 6, 8 teams sometimes.
Wow.
Places like Ronald McDonald House and nursing homes.
It's like, you don't get one kid to monopolize the dog.
Yeah, yeah, you got to have a lot. It's also, I think, probably our most popular visit from the volunteers too. People really want to get one of those slots. I hear it's really fulfilling and it's just very nice. Uh, Speaking of large dogs, this is a male dog who weighs about 190 pounds named Boo. He's in Newfoundland. So if you're wondering like what kind of breed or what kind of dog makes a good therapy dog, all kinds. You saw a Chihuahua and this guy, you've got Max, you've got all kinds. The only one we currently can't take, and it's purely because of insurance, because there was one incident somewhere else, is a Rottweiler and a Cane Corso, actually, so 2 breeds.
Yeah, I worked at Lakeshore Rehab Hospital for a lot of years and we had therapy dogs. I don't know that they were from Hand and Paw. This was a long time ago. But we used to love everybody, all the staff and the patients used to love when they
Yeah,
came to visit.
we visit there, and they have a facility dog that's a therapy dog as well. So
That's
they
its
have,
foundation.
yeah. You're right.
Yeah, I'm
You're
talking
right.
about down.
Yeah. We do go to the hospital,
Yeah.
and UAB has a facility dog named Top
What is a
Gun.
facility dog? I mean,
Great question. I just
is
used
it
some jargon. This is a good time to actually talk about some other jargon too. So a facility dog is basically a therapy dog that's specifically for that facility. So UAB has, I believe, 2 therapy dogs. One's named Top Gun. Um, he's a golden retriever, I believe, but he services specific units at UAB hospital, and that's it, including the rehab at Lakeshore. Is that what it is? The one Spain rehab? No.
No, that's Spain is at UAB. Lakeshore is Health South.
Yes.
Or not Health South.
Yeah.
What is it anymore?
I'm getting confused, but yes,
Yeah.
Spain Rehab at UAB has a facility dog. I don't think
Okay, yeah.
Lakeshore
Lakeshore
does.
Foundation, which is not the hospital, has a facility dog.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So a facility dog is basically a therapy dog for one entity. A therapy dog serves the public, multiple people, so large numbers of people. A service dog is specially trained for the needs of one human. So, if it's a person with an epileptic disorder, they're trained to respond to those needs. And then an emotional support animal is essentially a cross between a therapy dog and a service dog, but it's really just there to be like your individual therapy dog. So it's just comfort of your own personal dog.
service dogs you're not supposed to touch. Therapy dogs you can
Correct.
actually interact with.
Yes. Service dogs are also like have legal protections that uh, therapy dogs don't have, facility dogs don't have. So
So you don't have anything to do with service dogs, or you don't train?
we don't train service dogs, and service dogs cannot be therapy dogs because they're trained to serve one person.
Yeah.
We do have retired service dogs who make excellent therapy dogs.
Oh.
Yeah. And an emotional support dog is kind of just the other category. You could be both a therapy dog and an emotional support. It's kind of a made up category.
Now, with dogs coming into Hand and Paw, there's a volunteer who brings their own dog, or do you occasionally have dogs that are coming to you from places where they don't want or can't keep them?
Good question. So all of our volunteers, all of our therapy animals are owned by a volunteer human. But to your point, we do get lots of phone calls from people saying, I've got a dog and I can't take care of it, or I found a dog, can I give them to you? And so we refer them to shelters because we don't have, well, you see our building over there, we don't have a building capable of housing and caring for animals. So we just have to refer people to uh, other places. Those are some of my least favorite calls. Yeah.
You considered like, having a facility where you can have kennels and staff members, like,
I imagine that at some point they've considered that. That's currently not something we have the capacity for, but I imagine that it has to have come up, especially with Beth's background at the Humane Society. Yeah. We have a lot of rescue animals. You said Max is a rescue. Oh, I'd say probably the plurality of our animals are rescues.
about, like you were mentioning horses, and I've seen like service ponies and
Mhm.
miniature horses in hospitals and things like that. Have you ever had anybody with a personal, pony that
I don't
qualifies?
I don't remember hearing if we've ever had a volunteer with a horse because there is another group that does equestrian therapy. And but we have had goats, someone who had goats. Yeah. And someone probably.
Yeah.
I imagine so.
Is this, the horse therapy group, is that Special Equestrians?
Yeah.
That you're thinking?
Yeah.
That's my trainer, was the original
Yeah.
trainer at Special Equestrians,
Yeah.
Miss Pam. Yeah. So.
Small
we all-
world.
we know all about that.
Yeah. Wait, you just said something before that. What did you say?
Oh, goats and diapers?
Oh, okay. So we've had rabbits.
Okay.
Someone. Okay, so you asked about strangest things or something.
Okay.
This was just for me. A person came in wanting to train rats. And I don't have anything against rats. I love all animals, but I just had to use my imagination a bit to have that conversation.
They're pretty trainable, but I imagine they wouldn't be good for a hospital setting or something.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
There's
I get
yeah.
That's what I mean, yeah, I don't know how many people.
And then
would.
just to take the next step,
Yeah.
someone who wanted to do steaks, and you can imagine those on the same visit. That's not a good combo. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Because most reptiles are pretty reclusive, they don't want
Yeah.
to be touched.
Yep.
When you had cats, did they do different kinds of places or contexts or?
Yeah, there a lot of our program partners won't let us bring cats because of, certain like a hospital. They're not typically welcome in a hospital setting or in the clinics, maybe in the lobby, perhaps. But so mostly we did school visits and library visits with the cats. Yeah.
Is it that like more people are allergic with?
That's a big part of it, yeah, and they just shed a lot more, and I think there's just some bias against cats as well.
I was thinking they're a little bit more predictable.
Yeah.
Still that spontaneous.
You got to be you got to be an exceptional cat to make it through anyway. So if you make it through, you're probably good to go, but not my call. It's the hospital's call.
I'm stuck on that goat.
The goat,
I would
yeah.
love a visit from a goat.
Goats are extremely trainable, they're just, you can't control their bowel movements.
Right.
So I would imagine that would be difficult indoors.
Yeah.
I think the whole thing is so interesting about the animals doing something for people,
Hmm.
that relating to another person doesn't do.
Yeah.
I can't get the image out of my mind with that little girl in the bed
Mm-hmm.
and how
Did
she
he smile?
just, how that smile came up. She saw that pop.
From the video.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good fundraiser right there.
Yeah.
Not like the one with the dogs, the kids reading to the dogs.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, that's a real, I've been wanting to do that one and it hasn't worked out with availability and light schedule and stuff because it is a really popular one and everyone says it's like really good visit. It's really fun to see also, like you really see the people say that you just really, maybe in the beginning, the kids are first like a little nervous, but then as they kind of just sit there and are calm and pet the dog and like just focus on the dog, they're really able to get through and read and see that progress. So
Thinking about how people react to animals, I followed the monk's progression from Texas up to DC, and they had a loco with them, and how everybody loved on him. And now he has his own Facebook page, got some more followers than the monks. Yeah.
A lot of these dogs have Facebook pages or Instagram pages too. It's funny, he's got one.
I'd imagine the kids or the veterans or whoever they're serving may want to keep up with them.
Actually,
I can give you guys all
they all have cards.
cards. I'll give them all.
So a lot of people, where we do the regular visits, try to collect all the dogs' cards. Yeah. Yeah.
Want to get your card out? Hey,
My Hugo, I'm just talking about him. He does not, he would be a perfect therapy dog, but he is way too energetic. So, yeah.
And she's certain like she's attentive.
Yeah.
So there are certain times where she just the wrong person enters the room. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. So when my dad was in palliative care, somebody came in and said, "Would you like a dog to come visit you?" And my dad, was 96 at the time, said, "This is a hospital. You can't have dogs at a hospital."
Oh, yes, you can. My best friend went into a coma out of nowhere last year. Long story short, had some sort of rare encephalitis that the doctors could not figure out at UAB. So there was a period we had no idea if he was going to make it, what was going on. So like as soon as he turned the corner, I called Stephanie and said, "Can you get a dog here for when he wakes up?" And they did. So now he comes to fundraisers and tells that story because it's really impactful. Like he was missing his dog he hadn't seen in a month, because he'd been in a coma. Yeah. Lots of stories like that.
His favorite snacks, favorite activities. This is great.
I know.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Heartthrob, really?
I get it.
Yeah, I get it
He's
too.
definitely, people I live right in the heart of downtown Birmingham, and he's very well known. And I have, I work a lot, so I have like a dog walker who's amazing, who also lives downtown and knows everyone. So, she takes him on really long walks in the middle of the day. And then, so sometimes then when I'm walking around downtown and then someone will come, that happens all the time, like literally at least once a week, someone will come up just be like, "Oh my God, is this Max?" And like love on Max. And I'll be like, "Oh, who are you?" And I'm like, "I'm Max's mother."
This is also a true story. Everyone knows the dog's names and
Yeah.
maybe the human's name.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is okay.
Allergic to chicken, huh?
Yeah.
I remember doing these cards because I was like, wow.
A lot of
Wow.
don't know that their dog's allergic to chicken, and that's why they have gastrointestinal skin issues, all kinds of things. Yeah, they just have never gotten their dog allergy tested.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how we figured out. He had just suddenly had this like a lot of GI stuff. So we kept going to the vet and process of elimination, tested all the things was negative, and then basically went on an elimination diet. And once chicken was eliminated, like everything, like he was normal, like within days. Like, okay. Chicken allergy.
I'm sorry to interrupt and transition. I just noticed it's 8, so I don't want to keep you all night, but I did bring some cards myself. They're less interesting than Max's cards. They don't have any fun facts about me on there. My favorite snack is pickles. It's all kinds, but I especially like a New York deli style pickle. Yeah. And then I brought some stickers, some flyers, some brochures. So help yourself to whatever.
The QR codes out there. FYI. Thank you all for coming. Thank you.
Yeah. Let me know if you have any more other questions, or if you don't have any tonight, shoot me an email.
They're gonna be on our Instagram feed.
Yes, well, we weren't able to do live, but this right now is taping, and then we've got the recording, and you've got photos, we have plenty of material.
Yes. Has Hand and Paw ever participated in any like studies or anything like that?
Yeah, at UAB, we've done studies in the past. So if you know of anyone working on anything like that, then send them our way. We'd love to continue to participate. Yeah. We love contributing to the science.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Great job.